This is news analysis coming to you live on Politics and Business Television, Abuja. Good afternoon and many thanks for joining us on the program for today. I'm Fatima Abubakar Oibo. Retired generals are backstage of emergency over terrorism threats. National Assembly cautions staff over planned disruption of plenary. Peter Obi urges prosecution of officials involved in certificate fraud. On the foreign scene, hundreds rescued from blizzard-hit Everest, others await help. Details of the stories and more to come shortly after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. A coalition of retired Nigerian generals has thrown its weight behind growing calls for a state of emergency in response to the country's worsening terrorism crisis. The former military leaders expressed deep concern over the persistent attacks by the insurgents and bandits, warning that national stability is at risk if decisive action is not taken. In a joint statement, the generals emphasized that the current security architecture is overwhelmed and urged the federal government to invoke emergency powers to restore order. They argued that extraordinary measures are necessary to protect citizens and reclaim territories under threat, especially in the northern regions. The call has sparked renewed debate among lawmakers and civil society groups, with many echoing the urgency of the situation. While the presidency has yet to issue a formal response, insiders suggest that emergency protocols are being reviewed as pressure mounts from both military veterans and the public. Meanwhile, the management of Nigeria's National Assembly has issued a stern warning to parliamentary workers, threatening to disrupt plenary sessions over unresolved welfare concerns. In a circular signed by the Secretary of Human Resources, SCN or AYO SCN, staff were urged to disregard calls for industrial action, including protests and walk-to-rule tactics, as lawmakers prepare to resume sitting. The warning follows a petition from a faction of the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASAN, alleging harassment and poor welfare conditions, including unpaid allowances and salary shortfalls. The group also accused management of interfering in union affairs and failing to implement key reforms, such as the consolidated legislative salary structure and the 14% peculiar allowance approved for federal workers. Management emphasized that union membership is voluntary and any attempt to obstruct legislative proceedings would attract disciplinary measures. As tensions rise, observers say the government response to these demands will be crucial in maintaining order within the National Assembly complex. In another development, a presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has called for the prosecution of any government official found guilty of certificate forgery, stressing that integrity in public office is non-negotiable. His remarks come amid growing controversy surrounding allegations of certificate fraud involving a serving minister. Speaking at a press conference in Abuja, Obi emphasized that Nigeria's credibility on the global stage depends on the moral uprightness of its leaders. He urged the authorities to uphold the rule of law and ensure that those implicated face justice, regardless of their political affiliations. The former Anambra State governor also criticized that he described as a culture of impunity, warning that failure to act decisively would further erode public trust in government institutions. His comments have sparked renewed calls for transparency and accountability across all levels of leadership. Just to watch it, news analysis right here on Politics and Business Television, Abuja. Still to come, petrol price remains high despite Dangote's free delivery initiative. Details of this headline and more news content after a quick break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now on to business matters. Despite efforts by the Dangote refinery to ease fuel costs by reducing its ex-depot price to 820 naira per litre and offering free delivery via CNG powered trucks, petrol continues to retail at an average of 865 naira per litre across most filling stations, while a few outlets, particularly MRS stations, have adjusted prices slightly to around 841 naira. Many others, including Hayden, Aldova, and AP, still sell above 865 naira, with some stations in Ogun State charging as high as 875 naira. This has left consumers frustrated as expectations for immediate relief at the pump remain unmet. Industry insiders confirm that first supplies have been dispatched to marketers, but know that the refinery cannot enforce retail pricing due to deregulation. The disparity between ex-depot and pump prices has raised concerns about transparency and market discipline, with stakeholders warning that failure to pass on cost savings to consumers undermines efforts to stabilize the sector and ease economic pressure on Nigerians. On the foreign scene, more than 350 trekkers have been successfully guided to safety after a sudden blizzard struck the eastern face of Mount Everest in Tibet. Chinese state media reported the rescued individuals were taken to the township of Kudan following days of relentless snowfall and freezing temperatures that left over 500 people stranded in the remote Karma Valley. The severe weather, which began Friday evening, caught many off guard during China's National Day holiday, a peak trekking period. While contact has been made with the remaining 200 plus trekkers, rescue operations are still underway to bring them down in stages. Local villagers and emergency teams have been working tirelessly to clear snow-blocked paths and provide aid. Survivors described harrowing conditions with hypothermia posing a serious threat and visibility reduced to near zero. Authorities have suspended access to the Everest scenic area, and concerns remain about the safety of guides and support staff still in the mountains. And now for sport news, let's join Abel Sunday.
Welcome to P&B Sport News Update. I'm about Sunday. It was a weekend full of drama in the Premier League and some familiar stories unfolding for English biggest clubs. At Stamford Bridge, Liverpool's struggle continues as Arne Slotman fell 2-1 to Chelsea. A late strike from Williams sealed Liverpool's third straight defeat, leaving fans questioning if Slot can steady the ship at Anfield. Over at Old Trafford, Manchester United finally found some relief under pressure box with an Amorim guiding his side to a hard-fought 2-0 victory over Sunderland, easing tension and buying a little more time at the end. And in North London, Arsenal showed real title intent. Goals from Bukayo Saka, Rice powered the Gunners to a 2-0 lead over West Ham, sending Mikel Arteta's men top of the Premier League table. That's all for sports. I'm Abel Sunday.
Welcome back. And now, onto the focus of the day. Across the world, October 5th is celebrated as World Teachers' Day, a moment to honor the men and women whose dedication shapes our societies and future generations. This year's theme, Recasting a Teaching as a Collaborative Profession, calls for a new era in education where teachers don't work in isolation but in partnership. Mentoring, learning from one another, and building stronger systems together. But as we celebrate, critical questions remain about the value placed on teachers in Nigeria, the challenges they face, and the uncertain future of the profession in the age of artificial intelligence. Teachers' Day reminds us that no nation can rise above the quality of its teachers. As the world calls for the collaboration and innovation, Nigerians must invest not just in classrooms and curricula, but in people who bring them to life. And to all teachers across Nigeria and beyond, thank you for teaching, inspiring, and shaping our tomorrow. That's our focus today. Happy Teachers' Day from Politics and Business Television. And that wraps up today's program. But before we go, the headlines again. Retired generals back state of emergency over terrorism threats. The National Assembly cautions staff over planned disruption of plenary. Peter Obi urges prosecution of officials involved in certificate fraud. And on the foreign scene, hundreds rescued from blizzard-hit Everest. Others await help. For more updates and in-depth analysis, follow Politics and Business TV on YouTube and Facebook. Connect with us on Instagram at PNBTV_English and TikTok at PNBTV_English. Remember to subscribe and stay informed. For me, Fatima Abubakar Oyibo, it's bye for now.